Layla liked to look in the large mirror in her room before going to sleep. Every evening, she stood before it, brushing her hair and talking softly to her reflection about her day. The mirror was an old one, passed down from her grandmother, with an ornate golden frame and slightly cloudy glass that gave it an antique charm. But one night, as she was looking at herself, she noticed something strange, a black shadow moving behind her in the mirror, but there was nothing in the room itself. At first, she thought it was a trick of the light or perhaps her imagination. She rubbed her eyes, blinked rapidly, and even splashed water on her face, but the shadow remained visible in the reflection, growing more defined with each passing moment. As the seconds dragged on, the shadow started to move closer and closer. It crept towards her with an eerie grace, slow and deliberate. The closer it got, the more Layla could see its form, tall, cloaked, and faceless. Paralyzed with fear, she felt her heart race and her breath quicken. The room seemed to grow colder, the air heavy with an unseen presence. When the shadow was right next to her in the mirror, Layla's instinct took over. With a swift, almost desperate movement, she spun around to confront whatever it was. Her eyes darted around the room, scanning every corner. But there was nothing, only the familiar furniture and dim shadows cast by her bedside lamp. Yet, something was wrong. She felt an icy grip around her neck. It was as though invisible fingers were brushing against her skin, sending chills down her spine. Her reflection, however, told a different story, standing alone, unbothered, with no shadow in sight. Layla's fear turned into an almost primal terror. She backed away from the mirror, fumbling for the switch to turn off the light in the hope that darkness would swallow her fear. That night, she slept with the covers pulled tight over her head, daring not to look at the mirror again. Since that night, Layla has never dared to glance at the mirror before bed. She placed a blanket over it, hoping that out of sight meant out of mind. But deep down, she knew the shadow was still there, waiting, always watching from the other side.